and you had pretty strict smoking bans, citywide smoking bans in cities such as Lawrence. You had Wichita had one in place. And then, of course, over the years, you've had it where you couldn't smoke in public places, public buildings, even public vehicles. What's transpired over the years, though, is the state of Kansas, like any state, has spent millions and millions of dollars on health-related issues that are directly tied to secondhand smoke. And subsequently, that issue's kind of been around here for a few years. I don't totally put a lot of my thought into polls, but it was amazing. Virtually every poll I saw done, or the results of any poll done on this particular issue, it came up with about 70% of the respondents saying they supported a statewide ban. Wow. So in the meantime, that bill never made much, it never got much traction in the House. The Senate passed it even last session, and we just never did anything with it in the House. And so this year, ultimately what happened was, procedurally, a House member went and made a motion to concur with the Senate smoking bill and smoking ban bill, and it passed with more than enough votes, and so that will go into effect. It's, as I mentioned, costing the state a lot of money, and we're under the, all the information that we've been given indicates that that will definitely help out with people in the workplace. And there is some situations where I know the bars in Lawrence, Kansas, being we're on a college campus here, I know that's a big concern. Sure. But the bars down there have set up patios outdoors even in the winter with infrared lights, and they've had this in place for a number of years. Sure. And the bars have not seen any decline in business. The reports that I've seen in Wichita was that the doom and gloom that was proposed that they would see as far as their sales has not really come to fruition, and so they are doing quite well. So I think the bill actually reads that 10 feet away from the entrance, you can set up some sort of a patio or smoking area. And, as I mentioned, during the winter, they put heaters and people can, leave the premises, go out there, have their cigarette, and go back in. Right.
Well, one of the things I mentioned was that students on our campus, that's kind of been a hot button for students, and right now in student government they're working on some policies around that. What other things are going on that obviously are going to impact Fort Hays State University? The budget being one, maybe we'll talk about that in a little bit, but are there other items that
well, you mentioned some of the taxes, and there is, we hear a lot from the college-age student regarding taxes on the tobacco products and so forth. Some people have even talked about the possibility of putting a tax on utility bills, and of course that's going to affect us all. There used to be one, and that came off, and so it's difficult enough when we have severe weather, for people to handle their utility bills. So I don't think we need to go doing that.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk more about the state budget and higher education when we come back. Talking Democracy, we're visiting today with Eber Phelps, the District 111 representative for our district in the Kansas legislature. And Eber, thank you for being here today. I know we're talking about a tough topic, budgets. And before the break, we were talking about the fact that the budget has to be balanced, and in order to do that, we're going to have to figure out ways to raise revenue. And do you want to address that a little bit, and then we'll talk about how that's going to impact Fort Hays.
I might have mentioned it earlier that some legislators are still of the mindset that we can cut our way to a balanced budget, and of course the debate when we get back is whether or not you can do that. I believe there's more legislators feel that that's not the route to go. Subsequently, we have to look at some sort of revenue package, and the fact is what you really have to look at is how more budget cuts are going to affect the various people that receive state funding. Right here at Fort Hays State University, like any of our higher education institutions in the state of Kansas, further cuts is going to really diminish the quality of the product, the education product that they're able to deliver. The costs are going to go up for the students who are probably struggling to deal with the higher cost of the high cost of education, higher education right now. Likewise, you talk about K-12 education. And further cuts, result in things like larger classrooms, probably fewer class offerings, and even staff cuts. And right now, Our students perform well. Our graduates of Fort Hays, have quite a, success story out there as far as being placed in jobs right after graduation. We also talk about our K-12, outcomes and where we rank nationally in a lot of different areas, whether it's graduation rates, SAT scores, dropout rate, and so forth. And if we further cut K-12 education, I fear that we'll see a lot of those outcome levels drop, and then everybody's going to be scratching their head and say, "Why did that happen?"
Sure.
But we have a whole host of other agencies and organizations out there that rely on state funding to deliver their services, services to the disability community, services to the frail and elderly, and we are putting a lot of those people in a real anxious situation. They're scared. They're wondering what their plight's going to be if there's no more funding, or even if there's further cuts. And I believe that like when it comes to K-12 education, you have to ask yourself as a legislator, am I going to turn my back on K-12 education, because put all these kids in jeopardy because of a weak budget? And I think the answer is that we have to figure out, that we can come up with additional funding.
And obviously you're serving your constituents are in Hays, and also
Well, the district is all of Hays up to Interstate 70, but going south I have the small communities of Munger and Shenshin and Antonino.
So what are your constituents telling you as far as, obviously probably no cuts, but what are you hearing from constituents about how we can make this work?
Well, as I mentioned, whether it be the senior citizen program here in Hays, the meal site program that, don't want the funding cut for their K-12 education and what have you. I have been amazed at the number of people that come up to me in this community that I thought I would never hear say this, but they early in the session they were saying, why don't you all just raise the 1-cent sales tax like the governor suggested and move on? And I'm hearing that more and more. I believe that people realize that's really necessary. Our largest state business organization, the Kansas Chamber of Commerce and Industry, is going around saying that further tax increases are going to hurt business. A study out of Wichita State University just indicated that more cuts will actually hurt businesses more than raising the sales tax. But as I mentioned, we have all kinds of services offered out there that need to be funded, or I think we're going to be paying dearly in the long run.
And could you name some of those that you feel like?
Well, I'm a real infrastructure wonk, I guess you could say, because I mentioned, I don't think I mentioned, but I used to be in city government, and that's kind of how I got in state government. That was your first question of me. But we have infrastructure in the form of highways and bridges and so forth in the state of Kansas, and if we let those deteriorate, it's kind of one of those pay me now or pay me later scenarios. Right. And so we need to keep those in good working order. And I always said, if you don't think people pay attention to their roads or potholes, I said, serve in city, county, or state government, and you'll find out how important those are, especially in a rural state where we rely on a lot of road traffic to get our goods to and from market and so forth. We definitely need a good highway system, and we need a safe highway system. So right now, the Department of Transportation has been cutting back on projects, as far as enhancements, but looking at maintenance, and that's a real key issue there, that we just don't let those deteriorate. And of course, we already had this issue on our Regents institutions as far as crumbling deferred maintenance, and we need to address that. And we put a plan in place last year, and that needs to be funded so we don't have increased or additional costs later on.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned both deferred maintenance and the roads and bridges. Those are things that we as Kansans can really pride ourselves on, because our facilities are good and our infrastructure, as you said, are good.
Well, not to mention any other states around us, but when you do travel in other states by road, you'll see and really appreciate the roads in Kansas. Interstate 70 is regarded as the best highway in the United States, and I believe that is done not through wasteful spending, but that is done through consistent maintenance and real paying attention to the issue there. And I might point out another thing. When they talk about highway program, We just are nearing completion of a second 10-year comprehensive highway plan. Those money, a dollar invested, creates a number of additional dollars, and likewise jobs. And right now,